ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, being here on the Roundtable here on Broadway World and over here on the Broadway Podcast Network for Pride, we spend the whole month of June talking to our favorite LGBT creators. I love Tribeca Film Festival. In my wildest dreams, I will one day not be on the red carpet. Let me do something there. I'll sweep the floor. I'll sell popcorn. What do you all need me to do? Come on, I get stuck behind that little red rope outside on the red carpet while people like our next guest get escorted in fabulous clothes. What is what is he going to wear? I know he's going to come drip, drip, drop in something amazing for his Poreless debut. He's a business creator. He has a brand new podcast. And in his spare time, he has a short that's premiering at Tribeca. And I'm a hater. I'm a gay hater in June with our next guest. I'm so excited. He's inspiring us all. Akbar, welcome to the Roundtable. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And what an intro. And you can come to Tribeca if you want to join us for the premiere.
I'm excited for your premiere is on the 7th. If this is airing or if you're watching or listening to it afterwards, Poreless is coming to Tribeca. It is in the short category, but picked out of thousands of films.
Yeah, almost. I think it's like don't quote me on it, but like 9,000 maybe. So it's pretty incredible. Yeah, and the team is that's me, Poreless. I had a beard, not the beard.
You had a beard.
But I think Ben, the director of shorts programming, and his team, they actually really take the time to watch every single film. I really commend them. I think that is to be able to have patience and grace for everyone's work. I mean, everybody puts in so much work. Having done this first film, it is such a process that, you really have respect for filmmaking in a whole new way.
What do you define yourself as? I mean, you're a businessman, you're an artist, you're an actor. Like, what do you consider? What's your job?
Yeah, I think my job is just being authentic. So I think, I feel like creator is the word these days because it allows you to be so many things, right? I feel like influencers sort of done, creator is the new influencer. But I think just being the most authentic version of you, I think if you can just strive to be that every day, then you can really be anything.
So that sounds good to me. I was reading about how this film came to be. I had read that in an interview you recently did, and you're popping up everywhere because it's so important for us to hear different versions of people's queer stories, and you give a perspective that nobody talks about.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's real. That's the thing people have to realize. There's somebody, people will say like, we had these 2 gay movies this year. That's 2, out of how many billions of us there are. So I think every story is unique, and you can have 10 of the same story because each one is different, right? It's different perspective, different background, different race, ethnicity, religion. Like there's just so many versions. So I think the more and more we can come out for our communities and create projects like this and, other projects that have just happened, like A Nice Indian Boy and Queen of My Dreams, which is about to have theatrical June 20th. Fawzia, Fawzia Mirza, who co-wrote the film Poreless, that's her film, and so there's so many versions of our stories and it's endless. So I think we just have to keep creating.
I loved it. I got a chance to sneak peek and see it. And you need to, firstly, I love shorts because my ADD kicks in. So I was in for this whole movie. It was perfect. I wanted the feature. I wanted more.
Thank you.
What I love about it is that, it's a Muslim, queer, gay, like the story, but you don't have to be gay to find it funny and relate. You don't have to be Muslim to find it funny. It's really, if you're looking to laugh and have some heart and a chuckle, this is a great film for you to watch.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the takeaway is that everybody should feel their most authentic selves. That's the takeaway. And like when you lean into your authenticity is when you find yourself and when you find success. And I think it doesn't matter that the person happens to be queer, Muslim, South Asian. It could have been any sort of background, but everybody would walk away with the same message. But I think it is important that the person was queer, South Asian, Muslim, because we need that representation on screen. We need sort of even the LGBTQ community. I think sometimes there's a level of rankings, which I'm sure you can attest to. So I think I always say, like, for me, okay, there's a layer of being part of the LGBTQ community. Then you're like, okay, I'm gay. Then it's like, okay, I'm brown. Then it's like, okay, I'm Muslim, right? So it's like I feel like it's this like ladder. So there's rankings, you know, that which we shouldn't have, but I think there's an idea of what gay should be. And I think, you know, when we make movies like Poreless, we're showing what gay can be in all different types of ways. So I think that's important.
You know, that's such a valid point, an important point, because I remember going to Broadway shows and the gay community excluding certain people from certain things. Or my husband is a man of color, so then to see the way he reacted and his life reacts and how people react to him is very different compared to you. Did you have a traumatic, is like your coming out story good, bad, difficult, traumatic?
It's long. It was long and drawn out. You know, luckily for me, it wasn't traumatic. The coming out part of it wasn't. I'd say like the journey was traumatic, but it's a mix of things. It wasn't necessarily traumatic only because of things that happened to me or what I went through, but I think it can also be traumatic because of the way we treat ourselves, right? So I think our most important relationship is with ourselves. And a lot of times people who are, and I know coming out is such like a controversial term, and you need to come out, you need to declare, but I think in recognizing your identity, you are the most cruel to yourself sometimes. So I think when you look back at moments, you're like, wow, like I was such an a-hole to myself. And had I been kinder to myself, maybe things would have been different. But, you know, you can never regret anything. It's all part of the journey of getting to where you are. But I think it was only when I accepted myself. It wasn't family, friends, parents, society. I hadn't accepted myself. So I think like people forget that you kind of have to like, you have to have a coming out to yourself in a way, and then like have that conversation with yourself and accept yourself.
Such a good point. The acceptance for yourself and accepting who you are to
Yes.
gather that. While we're talking, you could follow on Instagram, and the links and everything will be below us. While we're still talking about the film, which I love the writer and yours relationship and how that whole came to be. What was the story? You were learning to be an actor. You were in acting
Yes.
school. You've been taking acting. And then this piece is just perfect. This is your baby. So tell us, how did it come to be?
Well, so Fawzia and I met when Queen of My Dreams was having its Toronto premiere, and then it did South by and BFI. And I own an agency called Fifth Column that builds brands. And, you know, my creative storytelling went from when I was young, I did plays and things, and I this is what I always wanted to do, but it was sort of stifled because it wasn't encouraged in the community I was growing up in. You know, it wasn't sort of thought of as a career path, or certainly not something masculine. You know, that's another term that, you know, I hate. And so I channeled that creativity into storytelling for brands and other people, and connecting communities, and, you know, making creative campaigns and ideas. And I something was still not complete. And I met Fawzia, and I had actually some of our Spirits brand sponsor her Toronto Film Festival premiere. And when we caught up after that, we obviously connected right away. She's a queer South Asian woman, and we're like, oh my God, we're both Pakistani origin, we're Muslim, we're gay, like this is crazy. And so we instantly hit it off. And then I confided in her and her wife, Andrea, you know, sort of these delusional dreams. Like I was like, hey, this is what I've always wanted to do. And, you know, I haven't done it since second grade, but, you know, and I'm so crazy, right? Like, no, I should just forget about this. And they were like, are you crazy? You should absolutely pursue it. And I was like, huh? What? Like, and they encourage the delusion, but you have to, right? Delusion is what gets us everywhere. Like the only reason I'm sitting here, even with the movie, but my agency, anything, is because I had delusional dreams. And I think everybody should pursue their delusional dreams. But then Fawzia made the important link to Harris Doran, who was the co-writer and also directed the film. And Harris comes from a whole world of theater and Juilliard, and is another brilliant talent. So I started working with him, and you know, just my initial acting coaching. And I had a big audition, actually. This is the first interview I'm seeing it in at CBS, where I bombed it. But I was prepping with him. I got an opportunity to like do a reading in front of some people at the network, which was such a beautiful opportunity. But like I had no experience, right? But it was a great learning experience. And then Harris trained with me on that. And then they were like, you got to take some classes, and you just got to be around people. So I just immersed myself. I did a Meisner intensive at T. Schreiber. I just did a whole intensive with Bob Krakauer, who's a legend. So just the last 2-3 years I've been doing that. But 2 years, so after I sort of was getting to know them. Oh, I was like, is that an answer? So Harris and Fawzia were like, you know what, we got to write something for you, because you just need to do something. We need to showcase your talent and show you to the world. And like, you know, there's sometimes you just have to create your own stories and your own moments. And so they wrote this hilarious, absurd, funny comedy, loosely based on like fabulous aspects of my life in the brand building world. but like a much more absurd, phantasmical, really comical, absurd. Oh my God, what was the word I was gonna say? Like a much more campy. That's what I was gonna say. Campy, a much more campy version of me. And so that's sort of how it happened. And of course, it wasn't that easy that they just wrote it and we made it happen. We had to fundraise. We had to get brands on board. We had to, get an amazing cast and crew, which we had some incredible talent in the film, from Diane Guerrero to Sophie von Hasselberg and Parvesh China, and fun cameos from Joey Zazig and all kinds of incredible talents. And then the crew that they pulled together. Wow. I mean, such an incredible group of people, including Bill Kirstein, who was a cinematographer, who did Mean Girls, the recent one. He shot it, which is why it was, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't, but that really like pinkish, funny, fun vibe of Mean Girls, was in the film. So I produced it also, along with the whole team of producers. But it was a journey, but it was a great way for me to just have a moment to show that, okay, I do have the skill, right? And hopefully everybody, I know you loved it, and I hope everybody does, and sees the acting skill come through, but then also the elements of like how we integrated the authenticity of the story, and really thought about that when it came to the directing and the producing and the script and the writing, and how we integrated brands like Absolute Vodka is one of our partners for the premiere, like really thinking about like brands that stand for the community. How can we tap them? And I think it's important for emerging filmmakers to understand that it doesn't have to be this like big studio dream. You can create a project yourself. You can bring an amazing group of people on board. You can bring brands on board and investors to support you. And if you really want to do it, you can do it.
And you did it. And not only did you do it, it's at Tribeca. And so when you're talking about you're really put in the work and effort to become good at the craft. When you talk about, I'm a Meisner trained actor as well. When you're a Meisner trained actor, you talk to Krakow, like that's the TV. Like if you're a film and camera person, like this is the person to go to. So you just went to the best, got the best, and then created the best team and put out a great project.
And thank you. And I had like a great support group to do it. I have to shout out my friend Ella Katz, who actually got me into the Krakow intensive because there's a wait list, and she was able to push me forward, and they happened to have an opening, and I like jumped on it. So it's synchronicity, but it's also people, right? Without Fawzia and Harris, the script wouldn't exist. They gave so much of their time and energy. They both are working on so many other projects, right? So I'm really grateful to the people these are people taking time to put forward another talent, and taking time to like lift up and elevate somebody who really, has had no past experience in this world, right? So it's even them taking a risk. So I'm happy that it turned out the way it did, and then that they're proud of it too, because it's their names on it as well. And it just turned out beautifully with the acting and the producing.
So what I love about it is when you talk about the Absolute Vodka, your company as a brand manager has worked with like all the great alcohol companies.
Yes.
I mean, you look at the list of companies that you have worked with in your business as a business person, is top of the line. You've had this business for almost over 5 years.
10 years. We celebrated 10 years this year. I've been in the brand building space for a while, almost 2 decades. So, I think it was an advantage. I have been talking about this in these last few days. If you can understand how to storytell for a brand and what an audience or a consumer really wants to hear, so that they then go buy your brand, I think you really have an edge in filmmaking and storytelling, because you know what that end consumer, that audience wants to see, and what they want to feel, and how that feeling is going to elicit the reaction for them to share or watch it again or binge the series, right? So I think that there is a much stronger role for brand marketers in filmmaking than people realize. Like, yes, there's the integrations, but actually if we incorporate brand marketers into storytelling, I think that and I think that is the future, actually is brands are going to be the ones financing a lot of, especially indies, as we see kind of studio budgets currently being tighter and everything that's happening. So I think this is a time, if you can create a story and a pitch deck and show a brand how they're so organically integrated, and it can be about them but not about them, and have this amazing group of talent that bring the story to life, like they're interested, they want to listen.
Oh man, if I had any money, I would pay you to run the brand of my show. I could pay you in bubble gum. I can give you a Diet Coke.
Thank you. Well, no, I'm happy to help in any way.
I know that.
But I think I also think it's beautiful when actors who've been doing this their whole lives come together with somebody fresh in the industry, because I'm coming in like so green and so excited, and there's people who've been in it for decades who are so jaded, and they sometimes need that little spark, and then
Yes.
together we can like create something really magical. So I think that like I really encourage that sort of pairing, like in just a lot of meetings I've been having recently with people who've been decades long in this industry who are so respected, and we sort of have this conversation. It's like, oh, I didn't think of it like that. And I'm like, well, you have all this incredible experience and insight into the industry that I don't have, and you've been doing this forever. So I could probably learn from you. So we can really learn from each other.
The magic of this business, we forget it when you're in it so long, and that's what you are a magic story. Your story is going to be magical, which is that this film, and to get to Tribeca. So also going on at the same time is your new podcast, which is out, which a couple of episodes are already out, and we love a podcast here. We love this. It's called The Safe Tea, and it's out and about. What is this, and what stories are you going to look to tell on this?
Oh, it's such a fun podcast. And Jessel Tank's episode, Real Housewives of New York fans, she's a good friend, just dropped yesterday. So there's some surprises in there that no one knows. So everybody should listen. But the whole premise of it, there's a framework. So SAFE is an acronym. Yes, it's about spilling the tea and having fun and conversations and culture. But SAFE stands for seen, accepted, free, and empowered. So I really believe that you cannot sort of step into your most authentic version of yourself if you don't feel safe. And in that, not just in the physical way, but in this emotional way of feeling safe, where you're seen not just by others, but by yourself, same, accepted by others and yourself, free from, because you've accepted yourself, and then empowered to kind of really be you. And then the T part is, how do you then, once you've achieved that safety, pay it forward? And that's transform, elevate, affirm. And so it's how do we pay it forward for our communities and bring out other people up with us? So it's a really beautiful framework, I think. And the conversations are really centered around that. So it's around diving into people's stories of how they got to where they are, but then also like, how are they paying it forward now, and what are they doing to uplift their communities?
Well, it's out now. The first steps, put it on wherever you get your podcasts, and get it and ready. If you're taking a ride, going to the gym, taking a walk, it's perfect for you to listen to. And it's already on my queue. I'm ready to listen and binge watch it this weekend, listen to it this weekend. So our homework is, if you're in New York, you're going to go to Tribeca. We're going to follow you on social media so we can see what's going to happen. How can we support the film as it's finding its way into audiences outside of Tribeca? Maybe people around the world are looking for something like this. What can we do to get the word out?
I think they are. I think if everybody just posts and shares, we're at Poreless Movie on Instagram. And if everybody can just like engage with it, post and share, we're going to be posting fun clips and things, as the movie makes its rounds in the festivals. If there's something somebody finds funny, if they share it, the more eyeballs we can get, the better. And hopefully, we get a streamer or network that does shorts programs to buy it, so that we want millions of people to see it, so we are planning to, after the festival runs, hopefully sell it to somebody or work with a platform like Vimeo or Omeletto to make sure that millions of eyeballs are seeing it. That's the point of it. We want people to like feel it and laugh, and feel seen and heard, and just have fun.
Well, it's funny. Tribeca is like Poreless or like Shark Tank in the way that it's people trying to sell a movie. And if I was someone who was looking to buy a movie, I would be ready to buy this. This is as topical and on brand of what the world needs right now more than ever.
Thank you. And hopefully people hear this and they will buy
it. We're going to follow you. We're going to listen to the podcast. We're going to be excited about Poreless and all of the things to come. I know you got tricks up your sleeve. This is just the beginning.
Oh, yes.
You're planning to run the world here. So come on.
Thank you. And we're going to circle back on like a next interview, and we're going to have so much more to talk about.
I'm ready. I'm thinking about, no spoiler about the short, but I was telling him that my favorite scene is the scene, it's in the trailer if you look at it as well, where you talk about what kind of gay you are and what kind of Muslim. You're Riz Ahmed, not the genie from Aladdin.
Yes.
I don't want to be a Liberace.
Not Liberace, although like, in many ways still Liberace.
I want to be a Matt Bomer gay, but I like carbs too much at 42. I can't be that skinny anymore. Those days are gone.
It's tough, but you know what? You just got to do it. Well, these days, everybody's hitting those Ozempic, but
that's it.
Which honestly, no shame. I think it's great. Like, it's modern science. It's been proven. It's been around forever. Like, absolutely. I think everybody should look their best however they feel.
I don't hate. I'm ready for you. Whatever works for you.
Yes.
So while you're here, one controversial question. Can you be gay and be Muslim?
I think absolutely yes. I mean, I've reclaimed all my identities. Growing up, I rejected that part of me because I thought it rejected me. And then now that I know who I am, I can be all of that all at the same time. So I think yes, and I think it's funny because you don't really hear gay and Muslim together much in one sentence. So that's why I think this film is so important, and the conversations around it are important, so people get used to hearing that, and it's not some foreign concept.
Well, I know there's a young person out there that is gay and Muslim and has never been represented in this way, and that's going to change their lives. And what you're doing is really God's work for real. So, congrats to this. We're so excited for everything to come. Thanks for being here with us.
Of course. Thank you. Thanks for the support.